Asterisk, asterisk. When survival becomes your only language, you forget how to live asterisk, asterisk. Welcome to the Soft Girl Era podcast, where we unlearn survival and reclaim softness without apology. I'm your host, LeAnne Dolce, pronounced Dolce, like sweet softness whispered in French. I recently had the profound honor of sitting down with Martinique Conyers, a woman whose life story reads like a masterclass in resilience, transformation, and the sacred art of blending street smarts with book smarts to not just survive, but to truly live. Martinique is a force, a teacher, a mother, a grandmother, a living testament to what happens when you take an oath to turn both the good and the bad of life into wisdom that liberates generations. Her impact on making the world a better place is undeniable. She's raising three children and grandparenting three more, including one who's autistic, all while navigating the grief of losing both parents and breaking cycles that trapped her brothers in the three strike system. She's proof that when you blend the wisdom of the streets with the power of education, you don't just change your life, you change bloodlines. Here's what we're not going to do today. We're not going to pretend that street smarts alone will save Black families from systemic traps. We're not going to act like book smarts alone will shield us from discriminatory lending, job losses, or the weight of single parenting. And we're absolutely not going to sit here and accept the lie that survival mode is the same thing as living. Because let me tell you something that Martinique Conyers taught me, something that shook me to my core and made me question everything I thought I knew about strength, about resilience, about what it means to thrive in a world designed to break you. She said that for too long, our communities have been sold a false choice. Either you're street smart, tough, able to navigate the traps, the violence, the incarceration pipeline, or you're book smart, educated, polished, able to code switch your way into rooms that weren't built for you. But here's the disruptive truth that nobody wants to say out loud. That's a trap, too. Because when you only have street smarts, you can survive the block, but you can't build generational wealth. And when you only have book smarts, you can earn degrees, but you might not know how to protect your peace, set boundaries, or teach your children how to move through a world that's designed to break them before they even get a chance to breathe. Martinique's life is the blueprint for what happens when you refuse that false choice. She became a mother at 16, 16 years old, still a child herself, suddenly responsible for another life. She watched her brothers get swallowed by a system that labels Black men as criminals before they even get a chance to be boys. Three strikes, three lives, three souls trapped in a cycle that was designed long before they were born. She raised her children in a single parent home, then opened her arms to grandparent three more, including a grandchild with autism who needs her to be two steps ahead every single day. Every single moment requires strategy, love, patience, and a kind of wisdom that can't be taught in classrooms or learned on corners alone. She lost both of her parents, carrying grief that would flatten most people. The kind of grief that makes you question if you can take another step, another breath, another day. And through it all, she took an oath to teach from both spectrums of life, the good and the bad, the pain and the triumph, the streets and the books. Let me tell you what that oath unlocked. It unlocked the power to see two steps ahead when everyone else is stuck in survival mode. It unlocked the ability to raise children who don't just survive, they thrive, they dream, they build, they break cycles. It unlocked a kind of peace that doesn't depend on a partner, a two parent home, or perfect circumstances. It unlocked joy in the journey, contentment with family love, and a faith so deep it becomes a fortress against every storm. Now, let's talk about the three lessons Martinique's life teaches us, lessons that every Black professional, leader, and entrepreneur Navigating systemic barriers needs to hear, needs to feel, needs to embody. Lesson number one: blend street smarts and book smarts to see two steps ahead and turn personal adversity into family legacy. Martinique's oath made this possible for her children and her autistic grandchild. She didn't just survive her circumstances, she studied them. She learned the language of the streets: how to protect, how to hustle, how to read people and situations with the kind of clarity that keeps you alive when the world wants you dead or locked up. Then she paired that with the language of books: education, strategy, long term thinking, the ability to see beyond today, beyond this week, beyond this crisis. That combination, that sacred marriage of street wisdom and book knowledge, is what allowed her to break cycles that have destroyed families for generations. Her brothers couldn't escape the three strikes trap, but her children won't fall into it. Her grandchild with autism won't be left behind because she's learned how to advocate, how to access resources, how to fight systems that try to label and limit Black children before they even understand their own power. This is what it looks like to be soft and strategic, to love fiercely and think critically, to protect your peace while building your legacy, to hold your babies close while teaching them how to navigate a world that doesn't love them back. Lesson number two: embrace both spectrums of life, the good and the bad, to raise resilient children who thrive beyond survival, even in single parent homes amid lost parents and incarceration shadows. Martinique doesn't hide the hard parts from her children. She doesn't pretend that life is fair or that the world is kind or that if you just work hard enough, everything will be okay. But she also doesn't let the hard parts define them. She teaches them that pain is information, that loss is a teacher, that even in a single parent home, even when you're grieving, even when the odds are stacked against you like a rigged game you never asked to play, you can still choose joy. You can still choose growth. You can still choose to live, not just survive. This is the work of the soft girl era. It's not about pretending everything is perfect. It's not about toxic positivity or spiritual bypassing or any of that surface level nonsense that tells traumatized people to just smile more. It's about refusing to let survival mode steal your softness. It's about teaching the next generation that they don't have to carry the weight of the world on their shoulders to prove they're strong. It's about showing them that rest is resistance, that boundaries are sacred, that saying no is a complete sentence. Lesson number three: find joy in the journey. Contentment with family love fuels peace, faith, and spirituality, positioning you for partnership or independence. Martinique shared something with me that brought tears to my eyes, that made me pause the recording because I needed a moment to breathe, to feel, to understand the depth of what she was saying. She said, I am rich with the love from my children and grandchildren, and I have the joy of watching them grow and learn daily. Am I content? At times, yes. Could it be better? Of course. But I appreciate where I came from and where I am going. That right there, that is the definition of soft power. It's not about having it all, it's about being whole with what you have. It's about knowing that whether you have a partner or you're walking this road alone, whether you have a two-parent home or you're holding it down solo, you are enough. Your peace is enough. Your joy is enough. Your faith is enough. Now, let me share three stories of Black women who embody this exact theme. Women who blended street smarts and book smarts to empower their families and shatter systemic barriers. Think about Oprah Winfrey for a moment. Raised by a single mother in rural Mississippi poverty, Oprah survived childhood sexual abuse, extreme poverty, and teenage single motherhood. Her child died in infancy. She was fired from her first news anchor job, told she wasn't fit for television. But she combined street honed survival instincts with scholarship education, launching local TV while mentoring youth who looked like her, who needed to see someone who had walked through fire and came out refined, not destroyed. She built a $1 billion empire and launched scholarship funds for over 400 Black youth. Oprah didn't just escape her circumstances, she turned them into a platform that lifted millions. She proved that when you blend the grit of survival with the power of education, you don't just change your life, you change the world. Or consider Madam C.J. Walker, orphaned at 7, married at 14, widowed at 20 with an infant daughter. She faced scalp disease and racial exclusion from jobs and banks in the Jim Crow South, where being Black and female meant you were invisible unless they needed someone to exploit. She was a laundry worker, her hands raw from other people's dirty clothes, dreaming of something more while everyone told her to be grateful for scraps. But she merged street savvy, going door to door selling products, with self taught business knowledge, inventing hair care solutions for Black women who had been told their natural hair was unprofessional, unacceptable, unworthy. She became the first self made female millionaire and trained over 40,000 Black women agents. She scaled from her kitchen to factories, hosting lavish conventions that crowned her agents as Walker Girls in triumphant parades that announced to the world, "We are here, we are powerful, we are building wealth." She funded scholarships and NAACP anti lynching efforts, uplifting single mother families, and pioneering Black female entrepreneurship in an era that tried to erase her existence. And then there's Michelle Obama. Raised on Chicago's South Side by working class parents, her father living with multiple sclerosis, working every day despite the pain because his family needed him. Michelle faced racial bias in elite education and jobs, constantly having to prove that she belonged in spaces that were never designed for her brilliance. She skipped Princeton sororities for authentic networks, fusing street wisdom from community organizing with Princeton and Harvard book smarts. She launched Reach Higher for college access, and her memoir becoming sold over 15 million copies, inspiring Black parents everywhere to believe their children could reach heights they never imagined. From hospital executive to first lady, she galvanized "Let's move to combat child obesity in underserved Black communities." She normalized Black excellence in policy and family balance, reducing dropout rates through dual smarts models that honored both where we come from and where we're going. These women didn't choose between street smarts and book smarts, they chose both. And that choice didn't just save them, it saved generations. Now imagine if more Black families and organizations adopted Martinique's perspective. Imagine if we stopped forcing our children to choose between survival and education, between toughness and tenderness, between the streets and the books. We're living in a time when Black unemployment sits at 7.5%, when Black owned businesses have lost 10 to $15 billion in support, when Black homeownership hovers at 45% while everyone else climbs. The systems are designed to keep us in survival mode, but survival mode is not living. Survival mode is existing. It's holding your breath underwater, hoping you don't drown. It's running on empty and calling it strength. It's sacrificing your peace for everyone else's comfort. And Martinique Conyers is teaching us that we deserve more than existence. If we embraced this dual smarts model, we'd shatter cycles. Fewer youth would end up in detention like Martinique's brothers. Stronger single moms would build networks of support. Instead of carrying everything alone, collapsing under the weight of a world that demands they be superhuman. Resilient grandparenting would produce leaders, not casualties. Communities would shift from survival to thriving, with faith fueled joy, multiplying family wealth, and emotional well being across generations. So here's my challenge to you: not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel ready, tonight. Tonight, I want you to teach one child in your life, yours or the community's, a street smart lesson paired with a book smart tool. Maybe it's teaching them how to read people and how to read contracts. Maybe it's teaching them how to protect their energy and how to invest their money. Maybe it's teaching them how to survive and how to thrive. Maybe it's showing them that they can be soft and still be safe, that they can set boundaries and still be loved, that they can choose peace and still be powerful. Watch them live beyond the odds, just like Martinique Conyers does every single day. Because here's the truth that nobody wants to say, but everybody needs to hear. When you blend street smarts with book smarts, when you embrace both the good and the bad, when you find joy in the journey, you don't just survive, you live, you heal, you build, you break cycles, you create legacy, and you do it all while protecting your peace, honoring your softness, and refusing to apologize for choosing yourself. Martinique Conyers is living proof that you can be alone and full of home. You can be a single parent and raise whole children. You can lose both parents and still find peace. You can grandparent an autistic child and still have joy. You can carry grief and still choose faith. You can be content with where you are and still dream of where you're going. That's the power of the oath. That's the power of blending street smarts with book smarts. That's the power of refusing to let survival be your only language. So go teach that child. Go break that cycle. Go live beyond the odds. Go choose softness as your rebellion. Go protect your peace as your power. Go build the legacy that your ancestors prayed for and your descendants will inherit, because survival is not the goal. Living is. And you, yes, you deserve to live fully, softly, joyfully, powerfully, unapologetically. Now go make it happen.